Thank you, Joe. To our top story now. After Hamas's terrorist attack at the weekend, Israel has bombarded Gaza with airstrikes. Yesterday, Benjamin Netanyahu and opposition politician Benny Gantz agreed to form an emergency government.
Well, joining us with more on this is Gideon Levy. He is a senior journalist at the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Gideon, just in terms of this, we've spoken about it this morning, appalling scenes. It's incredibly difficult to get our heads around actually what we're seeing. Casualties on both sides, innocent people on both sides. A lot of talk also about Egypt warning Israel some days before about what was about to come. Just let's start, though, if we can. This is what, day 6. Do you see any sort of end in sight to what really could end up being an all-out war?
No, I think we are already in a point in which there is no return. It seems that Israel is going for a major operation, which will bring many casualties, innocent people by hundreds and thousands. The order from this morning to the people of northern Gaza to evacuate their homes, we are talking about 1 million people within 24 hours. Where exactly will they go? To the sea? To where? To the closed border with Egypt? To the fence? I'm really scared from the possibility that the coming days will be horrible days. And by this, I don't argue at all about the legitimacy of Israel retaliating, punishing Hamas, smashing Hamas, but we are dealing with 2.3 million people, most of them innocent, helpless civilians.
Israel says it struck 750 military targets overnight. Gideon, it says it does not want to target civilians. You described there the call for the evacuation of over 1 million Palestinians in Gaza. The UN this morning describing that as impossible. And at the same time, we have troops mobilising for a potential ground offensive. This is getting worse by the hour, is it not?
By the minutes. We are really, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but if those things are going to happen, we will face a reality we never saw in Gaza. And we saw so many atrocities in Gaza, but we are facing now a new stage. And my heart is with the people of Gaza, like my heart is also with the people of the South. I've been in the south of Israel on Monday, and I saw the crimes, barbaric attack, really barbaric attack. But now we are in a different place. Now we are facing a situation, an unprecedented situation, in which innocent people will pay for the craziness of their leaders.
And you mentioned there the sheer numbers in terms of Gaza, 2 million people there in a tiny landmass being told to move out of the way. Where do they go, as you rightly say? Also, Israel being urged to exercise some sort of restraint, even though they are amassing troops on the border as we speak. It must be incredibly difficult for Israel to decide what is appropriate, what is actually the right course of action. And, of course, they are also bound by international law.
No, they are not. That's exactly the problem, that Israel declared already that there will be no restraints this time. And I understand the sentiment, because Hamas had no restraints. But we don't want to be like Hamas, and we are not like Hamas, and we shouldn't be like Hamas. There are restraints, there are legal considerations, there are moral considerations. And above all, also, one can ask, okay, so you smash Hamas, you kill tens of thousands of people of Gaza, and what comes next? What exactly will Israel gain?
But that's the point. I was trying to make the point about the Geneva Convention, saying that any response from Israel needs to be proportionate. Also needs to make sure that innocent civilians, the casualties, must be kept to an absolute minimum. That is beholden on Israel.
I must remind you that Israel is violating the Geneva Convention for decades in the West Bank, in the occupation. There's almost not one article in the Geneva Convention that Israel is not violating on a daily basis in the occupation. But now we are facing a much bigger violation if the threat will become true, because that's a collective punishment. No other word but collective punishment. And collective punishment in this scale is a huge crime.
Can I ask you about the potential for this spilling out into the wider region? We've got the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who is heading to Qatar today for meetings there, trying to broker the release of hostages. But the risk, the threat of this spilling out, and here in the UK today, 4 schools having to close, the rise of anti-Semitism here. This is not just about Israel and Gaza now.
Not at all. First of all, in regional terms, we all look to the north, because if Hezbollah will join, Israel will face a challenge that it never faced before. I really hope this will not happen, but this is a game changer. Secondly, we have the West Bank, which can uprise now within minutes. Not that they have much capabilities, because there the control of Israel is very, very tied up, but still it can explode. And then, yes, the world, I must remind you that right now the international community is supporting Israel, hugging Israel. There is a convoy of foreign ministers from the EU coming to Israel yesterday and today. They all come to pay solidarity with Israel, which is justified, but not with Israel, which is going to commit crimes of war.
Gideon Levy, thank you very much indeed for talking to us